My beloved child, stop looking at yourself through eyes that have grown too familiar with comparison, judgment, and lack. You have lived too long under the distorted mirrors of the world, where people measure worth by achievement, appearance, praise, recognition, and fleeting things. But I do not see you that way. My gaze upon you is not cold, not searching for faults, not weighing you against anyone else. I look at you with a love that existed before you even knew how to call yourself by name. I look at you with the tenderness of the one who created you with a good purpose, who wove every unique detail within you, who placed in you a beauty that does not need to borrow from anyone else. Therefore, do not let old words, old failures, and old wounds continue teaching you how to define yourself. Let me tell you again who you are. You are not an unfinished copy of someone else. You are not a flawed version who must strive to become someone different before you are worthy of love. You are my own workmanship, created with mysterious care, neither excessive nor lacking in my plan. There are things in you that you once considered weaknesses, but under my hand, they can become places from which compassion is born. There are cracks in your memories that you thought were ugly, but when my light shines through them, they become evidence that you have been preserved. There are unique traits you once wanted to hide, but I placed them within you so that you would not dissolve into the crowd. You do not need to distort yourself to fit the patterns of the world. My love does not wait for you to become someone else before drawing near. It has already embraced you, even while you are still learning how to stand again. So when your heart feels heavy with nameless pressures, when outside voices leave you confused, when you feel that you are not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough, return to me. Do not run in search of comfort in places that can only help you forget for a moment. Come to me in honesty, without needing to decorate your pain with a false smile, without needing to hide your weariness behind strong words. I am not far from you, like a God who merely stands and watches. I do not come beside you, only to witness you struggling in the storm. I come to carry with you what is too heavy, to place my hand upon the places where you hurt, to soothe you with a peace that does not come from circumstances, but from my very presence. There are times when you think you must solve everything yourself, must keep everything from falling apart, must prove that you are still okay. But my child, you were not created to live in endless strain. I never told you that you must carry a mountain of anxiety on your shoulders in order to be called strong. True strength is not never becoming tired, but knowing how to return to the source of life when you are depleted. True courage is not hiding your tears, but daring to place those tears before me and believe that I do not despise your tenderness. When you allow yourself to be still in me, you will realize that a quiet support has always been there, deeper than the noise, more enduring than emotion, nearer than every hand you once longed for. Remember the prophet Elijah, who once stood before the people with fire from heaven, who witnessed my power revealed mightily. Yet there also came a time when he was afraid, exhausted, and fled into the wilderness. He lay beneath a tree, no longer wanting to continue, feeling as though all his strength had run out. But I did not rebuke him with harsh words. I did not call him a failure. I sent an angel to touch him, to give him bread and water, and to let him rest before continuing the journey. Do you see? Even those whom I use powerfully sometimes need to be lifted by tenderness. I am not only the one who sends you forth, I am also the one who gives you rest. I do not only give a mission, I also give new breath when you think you have no strength left. Like Elijah, perhaps you have traveled farther than you realize. Perhaps you have endured more than others can see. Perhaps you have tried to smile while inside you were full of unanswered questions. But I know, I see every night you could not sleep. Every time you tried to remain calm, every moment you wanted to give up but still chose to take one more step. And today, I do not come to push you to run faster. I come to set before you holy rest. I want you to eat of my peace, drink of my comfort, and allow your heart to become lighter in the arms that will never abandon you. Do not think that silence is emptiness. In the silence, I am whispering. In the quiet space, there are things being healed that words cannot reach. When you stop wrestling with every noisy thought, when you stop trying to control every possible outcome, you will begin to hear the gentle rhythm of grace. You will realize that the world may not change immediately, but something within you is being set back in order. What once terrified you will no longer seem as great as before. What once made you feel alone will gradually lose its power, because when you know I am with you, you do not need to understand everything in order to be at peace. I have placed more within you than you realize. There is endurance you have not yet fully discovered, kindness that has not faded even after difficult days, and a capacity to rise again that you did not know existed until you were tested. But these things were not given so that you would boast in your own strength. They are streams I have hidden within you, and at the right time, I will cause them to flow. You are not empty as you once thought. You are not helpless, as fear has told you. You have not been abandoned in the midst of unclear crossroads. Within you is my mark, my promise, the life I preserve, and the love I do not withdraw. Therefore, be gentler with yourself. My beloved child, do not speak over yourself words that I have never spoken about you. Do not condemn yourself by harsh standards that I have not placed upon you. Do not use one season of weariness to define your entire journey. One cloudy day cannot erase the sun. One difficult stretch of road cannot deny the destination I have prepared. One moment of weakness does not mean you have failed. Learn to see yourself through my eyes, loved, upheld, created with purpose, covered by grace, and still being perfected day by day in my patient hands. Then, when you realize that you are loved unconditionally, you will no longer live in fear of performing in order to be accepted. You will stop chasing the shadows of recognition. You will begin to walk more lightly, more truthfully, more deeply. You will know that you can grow without hating who you are now, that you can change without denying your inherent worth, that you can become better without seeing yourself as inferior. I love you in the process of your growth. I love you when you are steady, and I also love you when you tremble while learning to trust. My love does not change according to your performance. Today, lay down the heavy garments of comparison, anxiety, and self-blame. Draw near to me like a child returning home after a long, exhausting day. Let me call you by the name of love, not by the name of your mistakes. Let me remind you that you do not need to become perfect in order to be embraced. You only need to open your heart, breathe slowly, and allow my presence to cover the places that are still unsettled. I am your resting place in the storm, the hand that holds you when you can no longer hold yourself, the gentle voice telling you that you are still precious, still loved, still being guided, and in my gaze, you will recover the peace that no world can give and no upheaval can take away. My beloved child, there are paths ahead of you that will not be as smooth as you once hoped, but do not assume that you have been left alone simply because the slope looks steep. I am not only present on sunny days, when everything is favorable and your heart feels light. I am also with you in the confusing turns, on the rough stretches that make your feet weary, in the seasons when you must walk more by faith than by what your eyes can see. When you feel as though you are climbing a long hill, remember that I am not standing far away, watching you try. I walk closely beside you, sustaining every breath, guarding every step, and turning what seems heavy into a place where you come to know my power more deeply. Do not wait until everything is clear before you walk. There are paths that only light up after you place your foot upon them. There are doors that only open when you dare to approach them. There are waters that only part when the one carrying the promise is willing to step down in obedience. I do not call you to live by the certainty of human plans, but by trust in the one who has seen the end from the beginning. You do not need to hold the entire map in your hand in order to be safe. You only need to hold my word in your heart and let me lead you step by step. Obedience does not always begin with the sound of triumphant drums. Often it begins with a small, quiet, trembling step. Yet within it lies the power to open an entirely new season. As you begin to walk, you will realize that the miracle does not come from your own ability. I have not placed upon your shoulders the burden of creating miracles by yourself. Your part is to obey. My part is to act. You sow a word of love, and I cause it to touch the hidden places in the listener. You place a prayer in secret, and I send help at the right time. You open your mouth to speak a word of encouragement, and I use that word to lift someone who is nearly giving up. You enter a room with a humble heart, and I cause the atmosphere there to change. What you do may seem small in your own eyes, but when it is placed in my hands, it becomes a seed carrying life far beyond what you imagined. You will see hearts that were once closed begin to soften, not because you speak better than everyone else, but because my presence goes with you. You will see people who once turned away from the light begin to ask questions, begin to listen, begin to seek, not because you forced them, but because my love through you has touched them gently. You will see doors that once stood still like stone suddenly open, not because you have enough power to move them, but because my appointed time has come. Wherever you walk in obedience, there are my footprints. Wherever you carry my love, darkness no longer has the same authority as before. Light does not need to argue with the night. It only needs to be present, and the night must retreat. Remember Joshua when he stood before the city of Jericho. That wall did not fall because of the strength of human hands, nor because of the clever strategy of soldiers. I commanded my people to walk around the city in obedience, and to human eyes that may have seemed strange, even difficult to understand, but in those seemingly simple steps, faith was revealed, obedience was refined, and power from heaven was released. At the appointed time, the shout went up, and what had seemed untouchable collapsed. Do you see? There are walls in your life, in your family, and in the lives of those you love that will not fall through tension, struggle, or anxiety, but through steady steps taken under my guidance. Keep walking, keep believing. Keep doing the part I have placed in your hands, and you will see me do what is beyond all your calculations. Therefore, never think that your life is only a series of meaningless days passing by. I did not create you to exist in obscurity, simply waiting for time to carry you away. I placed within you a light, a calling, and the ability to touch others through things that may seem very ordinary. A smile at the right moment can become a bridge for someone who is lonely. A sincere question can warm a heart that has not been cared for in a long time. A quiet act of kindness can plant within someone the belief that they are still seen, still precious, still able to hope. You do not need to stand in a high place in order to have influence. Sometimes the greatest influence is born in a small kitchen, in a gentle message, in a moment when you choose patience instead of anger, in a silent prayer that no one hears but me. The things you do in love never disappear. They do not fall to the ground as something useless. They are seen by me, watered by my grace, and made to grow in the right season. There are seeds you sow today that you may not see sprout tomorrow. But do not doubt simply because you cannot yet see. A seed needs time in the soil before it rises above the ground. In the same way, some words you speak today may bloom years later in someone's life. There are times when you forgive, help, support, and intercede, thinking no one knows. But in the secret place, I am working. One day, you will look back in awe, because from the smallest things, I have brought forth an entire field full of fruit. When I place a calling in your heart, I do not require you to come before me with perfection. I do not wait for you to present a complete plan, with every step calculated without error. Nor do I ask you to understand everything before you begin. If you had to understand fully before you obeyed, it would no longer be faith, but control dressed in moral clothing. What I seek in you is simpler, yet far more precious. A heart that knows how to say yes when I call. One small yes, spoken in trust, can open greater things than every loud promise. One quiet yes in an empty room can move doors you have never even touched. Do not take your response lightly. When Mary heard the announcement of something beyond human understanding, she did not hold every explanation in her hands, nor did she see the entire road ahead. But in humility and surrender, she gave her yes. From that yes, a new chapter in the history of salvation was opened. I do not tell you this so that you will compare yourself with anyone, but so that you will understand that great responses often begin very quietly. Heaven does not overlook quiet obedience. I hear the words you speak where no one else knows. I see the trembling behind your decision, and I treasure every step you choose to take after me, even when your heart still carries many questions. So today, let your heart rest in my guidance. Do not burden yourself with questions about whether you are talented enough, strong enough, knowledgeable enough, or worthy enough. Your sufficiency is not in yourself, but in me, the one who is calling you. When I send you, I also give you what you need along the way. When I open a path, I also place grace upon every step. When I entrust you with a mission, I do not withdraw and leave you to struggle alone. I go before you to prepare, behind you to protect, and beside you to uphold. Therefore, walk forward, my beloved child. Walk through the rugged slopes with your eyes lifted upward. Bring love into cold places, peace into chaos, and prayer into places that seem dry. And when you say yes to me, even in the softest voice, know that heaven has heard, and my power will begin to move in ways more beautiful than you can imagine. Therefore, I do not want you to live like someone who must always raise a shield against every word of the world. There are words that do not need to be answered with arguments. There are arrows you do not need to pick up and throw back. There are noises that are not worthy of entering the peace I have placed within you. Your silence, when led by love and discernment, is not a sign of defeat. It is a gentle power, a trained self-control, an unspoken declaration that you are no longer ruled by immediate reactions. You can hear without falling apart, see without becoming bitter, and pass by without carrying resentment. Because I am teaching you to distinguish between what needs to be healed and what needs to be released from your hands. However, do not misunderstand mercy, as always, meaning silence before everything that is wrong. There are times when I will place in your mouth a word as soft as anointing oil, yet as strong as morning light driving away darkness. That word is not meant to shame others, not meant to prove that you are right, and certainly not meant to satisfy the wound within you. That word is given to open eyes, to rebuild holy boundaries, to remind you and the person before you that love is not unlimited permission for things that distort the dignity I have placed within you. A truly wise person does not always avoid confrontation. They know when to stand still, when to walk away, and when to speak the truth with a heart untainted by anger. You can speak to someone in peace and say that you love them, that you respect them, but that you cannot allow their words to define you in my place. You can look directly at a situation and say that you choose forgiveness, but you also choose to guard the purity I have built within you. When you speak this way, do not speak with the voice of a wound seeking revenge, but with the steadiness of one who knows to whom they belong. Truth spoken in love does not need shouting in order to carry weight. It does not need display in order to be heard. It carries the mark of heaven, and what carries that mark will reach places ordinary words cannot reach. Remember Esther, my little daughter, who was placed in the palace not merely to wear outward beauty, but to stand in a dangerous hour with wisdom cultivated in silence. She did not rush into the storm with impulsiveness, nor did she allow fear to make her silent forever. She fasted, waited for the right moment, and came before the king with courage clothed in gentleness. She did not save her people through noise. She used wisdom, restraint, timing, and a word prepared in the secret place. And when the time came, her words turned aside a destructive plot. Do you see? My wisdom does not always appear like thunder. Often it comes as a quiet step, a rightly timed pause, a sentence spoken after the heart has been softened by me. In the same way, you do not need to rush to prove everything about yourself. There are battles that, if you enter them too soon, will only exhaust you. There are conversations that, if you speak while your heart is still troubled, will carry the smoke of pain instead of my light. Let me teach you the art of holy waiting. Waiting is not fear. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting is so your words may be purified, your motives made clean. And when you speak, it will not be wounded, pride speaking for you, but truth guided by love. The one who knows how to wait for the right time does not lose their voice. They simply place that voice in my hands before giving it to the world. And then, when you begin to see others through my eyes, you will no longer be so quick to condemn them by a single weak moment. You will understand that many people speak sharp words because they themselves have never been touched by gentleness. Many attack because they do not know how to ask to be loved. Many build walls of pride because inside them is an old child still afraid of being hurt. I do not say this so that you will embrace their wrong behavior, but so that you will not lose your kindness while setting boundaries. You can have compassion without being pulled into chaos. You can show mercy while still walking in wisdom. You can pray peace over them without handing them the keys to your life and letting their instability rule you. The wisdom that comes from me is a small but steady lamp in your hand amid a world filled with too many inviting sounds. It helps you recognize that not every open door is a path I want you to enter. Not every compliment is confirmation from heaven, and not every opposition means you are wrong. Sometimes resistance is only the echo of darkness before the light growing within you. Sometimes loneliness on the narrow road is evidence that you are being preserved from easy yet empty paths. I do not promise that wisdom will make everyone love you. I promise that it will keep you closer to me, cleaner in your intentions, steadier in your steps, and more peaceful in places that once shook you. Do not seek the approval of the crowd as though it were the crown of your life. There are things heaven recognizes even when the world does not applaud. There are decisions that may cost you the support of a few people but keep you in what pleases me. And my child, what is acknowledged by me is more precious than every fading praise. When you choose to speak truth in love, choose silence in discernment, choose to leave in peace, or choose to stay in obedience, I see it all. No action done in the light is forgotten before me. So walk, my beloved child, with the lamp of wisdom I have placed in your hand. Let that light guide every word you speak, every boundary you build, every silence you choose, every relationship you preserve or release. Do not fear being different when you are led by truth. Do not fear not being understood immediately when your heart is being kept by me in uprightness. I am teaching you a way of life higher than reaction, deeper than passing emotion, stronger than outward recognition. And as you live this way, you will not merely pass through paths filled with many voices, you will become a sign of peace, a gentle light, a bearer of truth who does not lose love. That is a precious reward, a quiet honor, and the path I am opening before you. When the season of blessing begins to open, receive it with gratitude, but also enter it with awareness. Blessing is not only a reward for you to rest in comfort, it is also an invitation to step into a holier responsibility. I do not fill you so that you will keep it hidden in your private room. I cause the light within you to shine so that those who are lost can see the way home. I place healing within you so that you may become a gentle sign to those who still think they cannot begin again. I give you wisdom not so that you can be above others, but so that you can lift others up with humble love. Do you remember the story of Joseph? That son was sold by his own brothers, misunderstood, imprisoned in a dark place, and forced to live for many years among things that seemed to contradict the promise. To human eyes, people could have thought that Joseph's life had been buried in injustice. But I was quietly weaving every painful thread into a garment of salvation greater than Joseph could have imagined. The day Joseph stood in a place of honor, that blessing was not only so he could receive dignity, but so that an entire people could be fed during famine. Do you see? What I place upon one person is never only for that person alone. When I lift you up, it is not so that you can turn around and display your healed wounds, but so that you can become a gentle hand for those who are still trembling in the night. But to enter the fullness of what I have prepared, you need to take hold of a key that many people see, but few truly use. Forgiveness. I know you have heard about this many times. Perhaps you yourself have advised others to let go, spoken beautiful words about mercy, and tried to smile while inside you were still aching. But today, I am not reminding you of forgiveness as an outward ritual or a memorized lesson. I am inviting you to step through a living door, where invisible chains are removed from your heart, where memories no longer rule your present breath, where you no longer allow the wrongdoing of others to determine the color of your future. Forgiveness does not mean denying what happened. I am not telling you to call what is wrong right, nor am I telling you to return to the place that wounded you just to prove that you are strong. True forgiveness is not erasing memory through pretending. It is placing judgment into my hands so that you no longer have to remain a prisoner in the room of resentment. When you forgive, you do not release others from responsibility before my light. You release yourself from carrying a burden you were never created to bear. You do not need to keep the fire of bitterness burning in order to protect justice. I am the righteous one. I see what others do not see. I know what others refuse to admit. And I am faithful enough to handle all things in my time and in my way. Often you fear that if you forgive, your pain will be dismissed. But I tell you, not one of your tears has been forgotten before me. Forgiveness does not make the wound meaningless. It allows me to turn the place that once hurt into a place where tenderness is born. It does not require you to trust everyone again immediately. It simply opens the door so that your heart is no longer locked by the one who wounded you. There are relationships that need healing, distances that need to be preserved, and boundaries that need to be established in wisdom. Forgiveness does not always mean returning to what once was. Sometimes, forgiveness is standing under my light, blessing the past with peace, and walking forward without looking back in bitterness. And my child, When you lay down what has weighed on you for so long, you will realize that your hands now have space to receive what is new. A person who keeps clutching an old stone will find it hard to hold the new gift I give. A heart that remains locked because it fears pain will struggle to feel the warmth of the spring that is coming. I do not want you to enter blessing with the posture of someone still being dragged by the past. I want you to enter as one who has been set free, with brighter eyes, a lighter heart, and steadier steps. What I began in grace, I will complete in glory, but you need to allow me to remove the old cords from you, so that the blessing will not be entangled in painful memories. So today, let me teach you how to let go in a holy way, not hurriedly, not falsely, not by forcing yourself to be okay while you still need to be held by me. Bring every name, every wound, every word that still echoes in your heart into my presence. Let me touch the places you once tried to hide. Let me soften what has grown hardened, cleanse what has been stained by sorrow, and renew what has become weary. You do not have to make yourself noble by your own strength. You only need to draw near to me and allow my love to do in you what your own strength cannot do. Then you will see that the blessing coming to you is not only a gift, but also ascending. You will no longer live merely to get through the days, but to reflect my light in every place. Your feet step. What you have gone through will no longer be a mark of failure, but a testimony of restoration. The years that seemed lost will be gathered by me and made into a harvest at the right time. You will understand that I have never taken my eyes off you, never stopped working within you, and never allowed the past to have the final word over your life. Rise, my beloved child. Receive the freedom of forgiveness, the tenderness of grace, and the strength of a heart lifted by me to become a source of light for many.